Hello everyone and welcome to today's series of Tech 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 PD. We're going to be looking at political classroom, and the basics of this is for us to really have great understanding on how to effectively make our classroom. Find out that from time to time, a lot of students or a lot of also teachers are really quite confused on how to effectively flip their classrooms, and this is what we're going to be looking at today. What exactly, when you talk about flipping your classroom, what do you think it's all about? What do you think we're trying to help you understand? Because right now in 21st century, this seems to be like a very effective way of learning and an effective way of ensuring that your students are engaged, ensuring that you're meeting up with even the curriculum and it's also even the syllabus that you have, because you have a lot to cover. How are you going to cover this? How are you going to do this effectively? And really, classroom method has really come to stay and has come to help us to achieve a lot as teachers. My name, once again, is Shimi Light, and this is what I do. I'm a tech educator, I'm a trainer, and I'm also a special needs teacher. I really love working with educators. I've worked with lots of educators across Africa, and majorly what we do is, or what I do, is to ensure that you integrate technology effectively. How do I do this? I do this through trainings, webinars, and also through my community known as the A Plus Educators Community. So, guys, that is just a little about me. Let's move on to what we have today. Before I start the session, I want you to think about this. What exactly do you have in your classroom? What do you have in your classroom as a teacher? Because the truth is, when you understand what you have access to, it's going to help you to be able to do the best that you can do. Because you need to understand that you have the right resources around you. You don't even need to really go way and beyond to get something different. Every resource or every tool outside the classroom may not be relevant to your classroom. This is why you need to make sure that you know the resources that you have. One, you also know the objective of what you're trying to teach, because this determines the kind of tool that you may want to adopt while you are using the flip classroom method. Okay, so just quickly think, what, just one more with this. What exactly do you have in your classroom? What resources do you have in your classroom? What tools do you use in your classroom? Do you have a whiteboard? Do you have a TV? Do you have a laptop? What exactly do you have in your classroom when it comes to technology that you can actually use? And what tools do you also have? What elements do you use in your school? What ideas do you have? What technology tools do you know? Do you know your Google tools? Do you have the Microsoft tools? Do you know how to use Canva? You know, these are just basic tools that you need to really have this idea of. And the Bloom's taxonomy forms a very big foundation when it comes to flipping your classroom. You need to know that what you're trying to send back home to the students to do is the first two. It's either the remember and understand. You understand? So what the flip classroom helps you to really focus on is the higher over level of thinking. But what we find out now is that a lot of teachers are doing the lower card of the Bloom's taxonomy, and they are not doing the higher over in the classroom. And they expect these students to really compete with the world of today. They expect them to be problem solvers. They expect them to be critical thinkers. But it does not really work like this. What you're meant to be focusing on in your classroom is applying the knowledge that you've taught, analyzing, looking at different scenarios, trying to compare this, looking at similarities, trying to look at, okay, what's best? How do we approach an issue? Applying the knowledge and analyzing and then coming to an evaluation, which does not really mean like, okay, you're trying to come to a final decision, but trying to say, okay, this is the way it is meant to be. This is the way, this is the right thing to do, and all that. They're trying to create something new, something more unique, something more original. You're meant to be doing this kind of activities. You're meant to be reinforcing this form of thinking in your classroom. And that was the first purpose of the flip classroom method. That was the purpose of the flip classroom method. Okay? So what is flip classroom? Kind of tools we have in our classrooms. So what exactly is the flip classroom? The flip classroom is, or a flip classroom is a structured classroom. It's structured around the idea that lectures or direct instructions is not really the best use of classroom time. We think that students can encounter or can use this information before class, so you can be able to free up the class time for more activities that involve the higher order thinking, just like what I discussed earlier on during start autonomy. So we are saying that the flip classroom method helps you as a teacher to be able to free up time in your class. You send your students back home to look at a text, for instance, as an English language teacher. You can say, okay, go and read this page. And after reading it, you put what name of the character, describe the setting, um, what activities happen in the story. Those things you can do them at home. Now, when you come back to class, you're going to explain to them now, describe, talk about the protagonist of the story. What can you think about the actions that you did? In your group, explain the different things that what should have been done differently. Okay, um, create an extension of the story. Come to the class and present it, narrate it, create another story around this. So these are things that you need to do in your classroom. Because that way, while the students are doing it, you as a teacher, you are able to facilitate, you're able to guide them, you're receiving the ideas that they need from you as a teacher. But you find out that when you focus on the remembering and the understanding in the classroom, and you want them to go back home to do the analysis and to create something new, which sometimes they are able to do that, but you come back and you're marking that as an assessment. You're marking that most times, especially you give them feedback. If you are very calm and you're patient as a teacher, you give them that feedback, but sometimes that is not really what the students need. That is not the effective way to your classroom. So why are we flipping classroom? The very first thing I need to do and know is that it is flexible. The reason is because you are able to modify some things, you are able to change, you are able to get the best from the students. When they go back, the light really talk about more in class. They come back, you can use the group method, you can use the formative assessments to really check for understanding. You can go forward to use a project-based learning kind method. It's flexible. You do a lot of things. You can play around. You can use tech tools to create a poll. You can use tech tools to create a survey to get their ideas, their ideology. You can use tech tools to create presentations. It's a flexible. You can really use a lot. You can do a lot using the flip classroom method. And students at their own pace. This is 21st century. Students should be encouraged to learn at their own pace. And why do you think that happens? Because when you give the child the material to go back home and get familiar with, of course, be able to get familiar or understand the material as much as a lot of them other students may do, or even the fact that some may not even go to the material at all. It can be because of different reasons. So my mom, here in Africa, we hear interesting reasons. So there's no data at home, or there was no light, Oh, we could not do the task. My mommy came back late. I needed her phone. I don't have a laptop. Different kinds of things. But now, because you are able to, you've been able to go and they've been able to, a lot of students able to go through this material and be able to learn the material, understand the material. You can now put them in groups. And the people that don't really understand the material, people that did not even have any idea, can learn from others. You understand? They can learn from others. At this point, even the the ones that have really understood the material can explain to the other ones, and that way it even gives your work a very, very, it helps you as a teacher um, to be able to engage your students more, assign roles, give them responsibilities, and that way you're training them. At the same time, you're building so many skills. Okay, so it helps the teacher to focus on higher upper level of thinking, which is something that we need as a school. We need in this world today. I can't overemphasize that every everyone, every every child needs to really develop what we call the problem solving skills and the critical thinking skills. So this helps you as a teacher to focus on higher over level of thinking, which is the analyzing, evaluation, creation. You need to create something new. You need to help your students to create their own stories. You should be able to create something different, an argument that's different from what you're doing. If you're doing science, you should be able to create an hypothesis, something different. They need to practicalize what you're learning or what you want them to learn according to the objectives. And this is why it's very important that you are adopting the flip classroom method. Okay, it also improves collaboration. And remember the four C's of learning are critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. So you can actually use the flip classroom method to be able to promote all this, to be able to do a lot with all this. Okay, the students take ownership of the learning as much as they learn at their own pace. They are also able to take ownership of everything because you can tell them that okay, you're going to do a presentation, you're building their communication skills. They're able to tell you this is what I understood, this is what I feel about this material. You have time to really discuss about the material in class. You have time to focus on what is important. You have time to focus on achieving the objective in class because they are taking ownership of their lesson, of their learning. They are telling you what they think works and what they think does not work. They are they are engaging in more, you know, stimulating form of learning. I can say that because they are thinking more, and when they are thinking more, they are able to do so much more because it really shows that they understand what they're learning. And teachers get to know their students better. You can't get to know your students when you are in a hurry to finish the syllabus. You can't get to know your students when you don't even have time. You just tell them, okay, name the part of the plant. Mhm. And there's no time to evaluate, there's no time to analyze, there's no time to compare. So it's when you're doing those things, you're able to now know, okay, this person is a leader, this person is a shy person, this person is a team player, this person, these are different things that you get to see actually um, when you're actually doing the flip classroom method effectively in your classroom. Now, what are the P's of the flip classroom method? This I had to formulate myself. The P's of the flip classroom method is firstly plan. A lot of people feel you just give them the work to do. Come back to class and discuss it. No, you have to really have gone through the process yourself. You have to imagine the process as a teacher. You have to plan the beginning. You can be to give this material to the students. When they come back to class, what are the questions I need to ask to really promote analyzing? What are the questions do I need to ask to really stimulate their thinking and help them to talk. What are those questions I need to ask that's going to help them to be problem solvers? So what is the objective of my lesson? What am I trying to achieve at the end of this? And in relation to the lesson, what are the 21st century skills I'm trying to develop in this class or through this lesson? We have to plan. And after planning, you have that draft in your head, you have the idea. You now have to prepare because what kind of material are you sending? Is it something that um, how do you want to send it? Is it going to be audio form? Is it going to be a video form? Do you need to record the lesson? Because so many times you may want to record the lesson. For instance, in math class, you're trying to help your students understand the quadratic equation. I know the quadratic equation so many times it's meant to be from the simple to the more complex ones. But then when in school, what our teachers always fond of doing, they do the simple ones in class and they give us the complex ones. They tell us they'll show the idea of the simple ones to solve the complex ones. But most of the time we find out that we cannot even do the tasks properly. We cannot even answer the questions properly because we don't know what to do. You understand? But assuming they had given us, done this for us, do a recording of the simple one. Let somebody record them, do a screen recording. Let's put a camera in front of you trying to write on the board and you're sending that to your students at home for the simple one. Then you now come back to class and do the hard ones in class. I'm so sure that we'll have a very better understanding of what the prepare sorry of of what class is about. So you have to really prepare what exactly step to step. Step one, I'm doing this. Step two, I'm doing this. What resources do I need? What worksheets do I need? What information that you have to produce? What you now need to do action? Do you need a tool? Do you need to screen record? Do you need to do anything? Then you have to play. Yes. So that play is you have to walk around it in class, carry out your ideology, carry out what you want to do, carry these things out in class, and and be able to now say that okay, I've tried this. I think this works better. I think this does not. I think we need to reshuffle this. I think we need to change this. Get the feedback from the students because they are the ones that will tell you what makes sense. Now, this is the process. You also need to repeat the process. You need to look at okay, I need to repeat this, so I need to keep it. Okay, these are the typical reasons why why should use the flip classroom method. So why do we need differentiation and personalized learning? You promote interactive learning experience. You're grooming practical skills. You're also integrating tech in the classroom. You're using tech tools. You're trying to help them to see how you can use those tools. You're also integrating trends because a lot of things that you're doing, there are trends around them. For instance, economics, money, stock exchange. You have to look at what are the new things that you can get access to. What are those recent things that you need to talk about as a teacher into your classroom? You can access diverse forms of resources and you can leverage to build the forces of learning also with the flipped classroom method. Okay, what are the basic apps I can use? You can use Canva, you can use Quizlet, you can use the Google tools, Microsoft tools, you can use the different tools, any tools, ChatGPT, you can even use a YouTube. All this can help you to flip your classroom effectively. Finally, we're going to be looking at tools that can be used. You have Mentimeter for polls, you have Padlet, you have Google Jamboard, which is now Fig Jam, you have Google Forms, you have Slides, you have the Edpuzzle, Kahoot, the Loom. These are tools you can actually play around with for your flip classroom method. Okay, this is a feedback activity. You can go to this and let me know how you think about this webinar. Do you want us to do more of this? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think this can work in your classroom? Do you have questions? Yeah, and make sure you join the community at the end of the day. Yeah, join the A Plus Educators community. It's a global tech community for educators. where we do webinar series that are going to help you as a teacher to be able to stay ahead of the rest, gives you the edge that you need to really stand out in this time and able to teach the 21st century students. Yeah, you can send an email to this to get this PDF, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Chimejikulight. And thank you so much. Thank you, and I hope you really understand. We have a better understanding of the basics now when it comes to um, flip classroom. I'm going to encourage you today that you should flip your classroom. You need to flip it.